Okay, it's 6:30. As county clerk, I'm going to call this meeting to order. The Public Works Committee, May 13th, 2026. We have elections tonight, so I'm going to open the meeting. Roll call, Ron Kinsley, Mark Helwig, Randy Newman, Chuck Van Etten, Jim Evans. You have a quorum. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by Section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes. I will now open the floor for nominations for the position of Chair of the Public Works Committee. A person receiving a majority vote of members entitled to a seat shall be declared elected. This vote shall take place by secret ballot. You have ballots at your seat. If no majority is reached, balloting shall continue, including all nominees, until a majority is reached. Once the candidates have been nominated, they will be afforded the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for the position of Chair. Do I have any nominations? Mr. Helwig?
I nominate Ron Kinsley for the chair.
Do I have any other nominations? Same. Okay, Mr. Kinsley, would you like to speak?
Just thank you for nominating me. I enjoyed working with Public Works. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other nominations? All right, there being no other nominations, you may now proceed to vote. Okay, the votes have been tallied, and it was a unanimous vote for Mr. Kinsley for chair. All right, thank you. And now moving on, we will open the floor for nominations for the position of vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair? Mr. Evans?
I will nominate Mark Helwig. Mr. Helwig, please.
Okay, we have a nomination for Mark Helwig for vice chair. Are there any other nominations? Mr. Helwig, would you like to say a few words?
No, I'm just glad to continue on.
Okay, there being no other nominations, you may proceed to vote. Okay, the votes have been tallied, and the majority of votes were for Mark Helwig. So Mark Helwig is your new Vice Chair of Public Works. And I will now turn the meeting over to Chairman Kinsley.
I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for voting for me to be the chair. I've been the chair for 20 years now. And I like the variety that this Public Works brings to this committee. Thank you. Number 7, the meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 8 is public comment. Anybody wishing to speak to the committee? Is anybody online? No hands up. Jane, did you want anything, or did you want to speak? No. Number 9, consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, which was April 8th.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Evans to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, look into the meeting dates and times, discussion, possible action. I know in the earlier people have asked about moving the times. That's why it's on the agenda. Go ahead. If you.
I would like to move, or do you want a motion? Or do you want to?
Well, it's going to have to be a motion. So
All right, I'll make a motion to move this meeting. We can talk about the times. I would recommend 5 o'clock, but I'm sure I can amend my motion if we change the time, but that's my motion.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bennett and second by Mr. Evans to change the time to 5 o'clock and staying with the same day, which makes in the rotate, it all comes off the day the county board is to set the days. Any discussion? Your input from the administrator or clerk can make any difference to you?
None, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Does that make it hard for you, Jane?
Excuse me?
Does it make it hard for you to get to the meetings if it's 5 o'clock?
No, they like me to get out of there.
Okay.
Works. Thank you for asking.
So we have a motion and a second to change the time to 5 o'clock. With no discussion, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 11, Maintenance Department report. We have a report. Anybody have any questions? Anything you would like to highlight, Mr. Martin?
Well, I guess one thing that's not on here is we've started a remodel in between the clerk and our OD offices to give a little more privacy, and that's going well.
Anybody else have any questions? Number 12, Sawyer County Airport report. Mr. Leslie.
All right, 3 minutes. I'll let Mike touch base on our conference a little bit, but I just want to point out the fact that I think it's the first time I've had somebody at the county at one of the conferences, other than myself for many years, so it's greatly appreciated to have some support on that, so thank you. As far as ops at the airport, it's been getting busier. Tomorrow, I think, God, it's loud. Tomorrow, I think I got 6 jets on the schedule. I think it's like kind of the unofficial first busy days, like tomorrow is what I'm seeing. I'm ready. I think we're ready from a staffing standpoint at the FBO. We're ready to rock. Winters get long, so when people start flying in and out, it's greatly anticipated. Mowing's going good. We signed a contract for that, same as we've done the last few years. So we're in good shape on mowing. Operationally, the DNR has been flying in and out every single day buying fuel. We have coffee and cookies set up for the pilots. They take a break for a little while and they get back up because they've been flying circuits across the northern part of the state. Pretty much all daylight hours right now. They're still worried about things popping off. I would have thought with the rain yesterday it would have slowed down, but they're still on the highest level of monitoring with aircraft. I know we had the sheriff's department out next month for EVOC training. They do that, I don't know if it's WITC anymore. I'm not sure which organization does it. But we always host the sheriff's department. It's not just the Sawyer County Sheriff, I think it's everybody in the region. They'll come out and do EVOC training on the tarmac. It's a good, safe place, wide open space to do their thing with cones, and every year it's always a hoot because they smash some cones every year. It's actually a fun day. It is a fun thing to really watch because they really get into it, when they're doing their training. So lights and sirens across the tarmac, it's always a fun day. Trying to think about anything else. I know we've got, Mike and I have spent quite a bit of time talking lately about various topics. We have 2 things to put on for future agenda items, for action items, presumably for this committee next month. Do you want to talk about that at all now, or just at future discussion topics?
Well, you can give a little headline.
2 hangars. One is potentially getting sold, so we'd have a hangar lease transfer. That's TBD yet at this point in time.
How much time is left on the current?
That one was just renewed recently, just a couple years ago. Then yeah. So I'm not sure on that one. The hangar owner made a request anyways that, we notify him of what the process is to do that. Another one, we've got a 30-year hangar lease coming to term. So we need to renew the new hangar lease with the existing lessee. I put it in my report, Dan's a great guy. He's what we want for a hangar owner. We're lucky to have him. So I wouldn't think we're gonna have issues with that. I know Mike had sent off some stuff to legal to write it up. And he sent off an email to the hangar owner saying that we were gonna have it on future agenda items for tonight and that it should be brought to committee next month for consideration.
Thank you.
Otherwise, airport's gonna start getting busy real quick. So I'm ready. Any questions for me?
Tell us
3
a little bit
minutes?
about that award. What you had to do to get that?
So we did a runway project last year. It was a big one. There was 3 airports in the state that did runways. We were one of them. We won the Project of the Year award through the Bureau of Aeronautics program. And that project's not just on runways. It could be any project. So I don't know how many overall projects that there were. I think the last time an airport in our region actually was the Project of the Year, Price County. They did their runway about 4 or 5 years ago, that one Project of the Year award too. We were only shut down for 30 days, which I don't know if there's ever been, and I don't know who to answer that question. I don't know if there's ever been a runway project in the state that's gone that quick. I mean, we never had a single rain day, so that makes a big difference. I know Lakeland Arborvitae, they're our biggest competitor, probably in this part of the state, kind of touristy in the state, period. Their runway's down right now for reconstruction, and they're looking at 45 to 50 days for theirs, is what's scheduled out. There's a little bit more work for theirs with some taxiway connectors and whatnot, but the fact that we got Project of the Year, it was announced when Mike and I were at conference. That's pretty cool.
That's very
So,
nice.
Great. Congrats.
yeah, and I don't know, next month, 5 o'clock, so, we've been doing 6:30 meetings since I was wearing a different shoe size. Doesn't bother me at all. Just in the summertime, June, July, August, I get busy, so that's the only thing I'll say.
You know how to communicate with us.
Yes, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to say anything about conference?
I'll say just a couple things. Airport is probably the thing I feel least comfortable with my knowledge of, so I thought it would be a good idea for me to go to that conference, and I was glad I did. A lot of it, well, all of it was really geared towards the manager, but I did get some really nice pieces of information. They talked about budget and where money comes from. That was good. The one thing that really got me kind of excited until right at the end when they said it was only for Milwaukee was it ACES, the Youth Apprentices Program? That was pretty cool, but again, there's no funding for up here, it's only Milwaukee. But I would like to see something like that statewide.
Thank you. Number 13, Highway Department. Mr. Pinham.
Good evening. So the crews have been out on State Highway 70 pretty much from Ojibwa all the way to Price County. We've been massacing, spray patching, and patching. We had the help of Burnett County over here with their spray patcher. They did move the project up, that emergency project from County GG to Price County was supposed to start in July. Now they plan to start in June now for that section. Nothing has been added to that project. We did send a letter to the county. I provided you guys a letter from the county to the state requesting that we at least go from Winter to Ojibwa too, but nothing's been said about that. Crews have been busy with that. We've been busy unplugging culverts. Those beavers have been really busy this spring. The county roads we suffered quite a bit of damage this year with the frost, but we're still patching. We have been working some Fridays trying to play catch up because of what we had on State Highway 72. We finished last week, we finished a culvert replacement on 2777. We plan on paving that next week. We were supposed to Monday, but it looks like rain Monday and Tuesday, so hopefully get it paved either Wednesday or Thursday, that little section, and went really well. Guys did a great job. We did remove the road bans on April 23rd last month. I'm still working on the right-of-way acquisitions for County Road E North, and at the time that I wrote this, we now, out of 30 parcels, we have 23 signed, 5 were that intend to sign, we're just waiting for the signatures, and 2 that we're gonna have to go to appraisal. So overall, I think it's going pretty well. It's a lot of headache and a lot of work. But we're gonna get a really nice road in the end, so, and that construction starts the spring of '27. Hopefully, we let the project in November, so we'll know who the contractor is, but the brushing and the tree removal should start right away in the spring, or possibly after the contract's awarded. County D Bridge.
Could you, I wasn't here for that. Could you tell me what that's all about?
So we had to buy a bunch of TLEs along County Road E, so, because we're, grading grade slopes and clear zones and everything else. So we had to pretty much rent these people's land along there. And so we offer them a certain amount of money to rent their land, and then they get it back in the end once the project's done. So it's been going okay. The County D Bridge, so the deck has been removed, and they've been working on the false decking right now. We did have that abutment issue on the east abutment. We think we have a fix. We have a timeline to get it fixed. We're still working out the pricing of it. We're hoping, we left a couple $100,000 on the table. I don't wanted to use that because it came in good, so I'm gonna ask for change management, but we don't have a price yet. Working with the DOT on that. Otherwise, it's moving along. I think they've only had one delay due to rain down there so far. I did receive the state SMA for County F project for our construction project this year. I'm still waiting on County Double D. They're a little behind at the state right now, but we should have it here before July. We do have ads out for summer laborers. I'm looking to hire 4 this year. Currently, we have 1 hired and working, 1 declined. We have 1 part-time, or light-duty employee from the ambulance working out there with us. So I'm still looking for 2 more people. And then we did complete our minor safety training this week, actually, at our Hayward shop. So we're all good to go and being able to get in the pits when we start paving. So that completes my report.
Good job. Questions? Moving on to letter B, annual approval of the existing ATV.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
We had the equipment management plan.
I was gonna do that after C,
Okay, perfect.
if that's all right.
Yep.
So letter B, annual approval of existing routes. That's the routes that the community's been using over the last couple of years. And a discussion and possible actions. We renew every May. And someone asked, I don't remember who, if we can not have to bring it up each year, but it's in the ordinances and resolution that's set up that way to do it, if that helps you. The wishes of the committee.
I make a motion, we renew it for another year.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Evans to approve the renewal of the existing routes and ATVs trails. Any discussion? Yes.
I was just curious, out of these 82, the new LCO ones,
That'll be letter C. Yep. Okay. Yes.
Could I ask that I invite the sheriff just to talk about the safety of UTVs since they've been open?
Thanks, Commissioner, Mr. Chair. Mentioned that several years ago when they're opening all the county roads, that 12-month period before that, the county or the sheriff's office or all law enforcement in Sawyer County received 101 ATV, UTV complaints. Over half of those were for operation for illegal road use. And when the county opened up, and there's been several towns that have opened up their roads now. So this year, the 12-month period ending the end of April, we have had a total of 19 ATV, UTV complaints in the county. We have had a total of 15 crashes involving ATV, UTVs throughout the county. Most of those are on the trail system. There was 4 on the county trunk highways, which as much traffic as there is pretty consistent with motor vehicle traffic and bicycles and everything else, as would be expected. There was several of the complaints, or we had 4 complaints also on the county trunk highways, which is pretty minimal. We did have our deputies stopped over 83 ATV, UTVs for violations between the trail system and the highways. So they have been actively enforcing as well. And I think the contributing factors of enforcement on behalf of law enforcement and education throughout the county, it's been pretty safe operations.
Good information to have. Appreciate that.
Mr. Sheriff? Those 4 crashes that you said, were those involving motor vehicles or they were just crashes?
For the most part, I believe they were mostly just a single UTV crash. I'm not aware of any of them with a motor vehicle otherwise, but I can't verify that and I don't have those details with me.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to say, thank you, Sheriff. That's some really good information, especially from, how much discussion there was about not opening the roads. And I mean, me, I was against just simply opening everything up. So that's really good information. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion, a second for letter B to renew. Oh, yes.
Oh, we did, didn't
We didn't vote yet.
we? Nice discussion.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Letter C, approve a new ATV route switch. Jane was nice enough to put together with our highway commissioner. So, discussion and possible action.
Okay, so the first route that I'm looking at is the County NN, which goes from County B all the way through County NN to County N, with a little portion, which is what they call 6 Mile, with a little portion of N open to County CC South that goes to Coudray. ADT is pretty much the same on most of our routes. We're in the low 600s. I don't have any concerns. I don't know if the sheriff has any concerns with those routes. It's pretty typical to all the other routes that we have open. I do want to say, though, it's within tribal boundaries, so there is a timeline between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And these 2 routes are different than the other routes open on the reservation, because there is a timeline that they are open, and I believe it's May 1st to October 31st, just for these 2 new routes.
And the reason for that was because of their deer season, their hunting season, they asked. And I thought, working through the ad hoc committee, it was a very good gesture to get things started going that way. My thoughts.
Would you be, we gotta do each one separately? Oh, so I was just gonna.
Well, we're gonna do letter C as a total.
The next road is County Road CC, which currently ends in New Post. And we got approval from LCO to open it up from New Post to 6 Mile, which is County N, and where County CC meet. And then also include, it's about 1 mile on County Road H that currently isn't open. That will open up the rest of H all the way down to Radisson. Again, pretty much similar ADT, in the mid 600s. I really don't have any concerns. Again, I mean, typical for what else is open in the county.
I'd like to make the motion that we open these 2 new routes up with the agreements that were put forth with LCO. I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Mr. Newman, second by Mr. Helwig to approve the new routes and set forward. the LCO has brought to us. I'd also, at this time, I want to thank Jane and Tim for contributing what the Alliance has done to help get things to the point where they're at. Much appreciated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On the Commissioner's report, we have a little additional information that the Commissioner wants to add to it.
And he's been here before, but this is Bill Kern, longtime commissioner for Jefferson County, actually was a commissioner in Surrey County for a very,
20, how many years ago? Almost 30?
Yeah.
28 years ago?
It was a while ago.
3 years, yeah.
So we've been working together, learning a lot from Bill, trying to, make us, our equipment and stuff, the turnover plan and the revenue and trying to get us better at what we do and how we can improve the highway department going forward. So he's got a little presentation. I'll hand these out.
Yeah, Jonathan said these out. We did have a discussion about, again, this is a little, for those of you guys who like to read and see what we're actually doing, it'll give you that ability to kind of go through it and pick it up. Some of you guys may not care about this level of detail, but I think it's good as a first start of the process. John and I have been working together now for about 5 or 6 months, and you guys saw some of that raw data I first gave you guys a few months ago, and some of the spreadsheets we created, looking at his fleet, organizing it, looking at turnover, looking at some of the utilization. Yeah, but I like to kind of put it in a somewhat of a more formal, a little bit more of a report to kind of say, here's what we're trying to do. As John comes forward the next several months and keeps bringing up things with equipment, you'll know there's a kind of a method to the madness of what we're trying to do, because we're trying to, within these county highway departments, we all charge the same rates, and within our county highway departments, and you can do better, or you can do worse. And it's really important at a highway department to be healthy, to have a highway fund, or equipment fund that you're kind of funding internally, and how you run your equipment and how you utilize it, So to me, it's really important. We can, at one highway department in the state, we can do $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 better within our operations if we're really running our equipment properly within that rate structure. So to me, it's a good, healthy look at your department and how they're doing. So John's been awesome to work with. We've been just picking away at things, and you guys have seen some of those things where we've talked about utilization, and he's come to you guys and kind of tried to pare our fleets down a little bit on some of our small trucks in certain areas. And we're starting to look at how we can pick up our usage and our utilization more on some of the equipment we do have, and that's just the whole process we go through. But I'm just gonna take, again, I'm not gonna go through much of this. I'm not gonna, you guys can read it, look at it all. I'm just gonna flip through some pages so you kind of understand the whole plan of what we're trying to do here. And you guys can go look at it as much as you want and get into the several pages of, if you're really bored and you wanna read through it all, you still have it, and you can get an idea of what we're trying to do out there. So if you flip in, I'm just gonna actually flip you through the whole first part of the report, where it's just all verbiage, and I do kind of a summary on what, again, what we're doing, what we're trying to do. And we'll get to the first page where you see the first chart, if you wanna flip in and look at the first chart. And I'll hit through a few charts just to give you, again, that big overview on what we're doing out there. So when you look at that first chart, chart A, you get to that page, that is for the highway department over the last 4 years, what they've internally been creating for purchase value within their operations. So they all chart, we all at highway departments charge the same rates. And this is the value you see. And you can actually see where there's some improvements are starting to happen. You see that chart, you see that value going up, and that's a good sign. And that's the whole point of what we're trying to do here. And you'll see that here in a few more pages is we want to keep pushing that level higher and higher and higher and get to a point where we have more funds we're creating internally with our operations to buy more equipment. It can be self-sustaining if you get to the right point with this. And you're really not there right now, but that's kind of the whole point of what we're trying to do here. So you see that chart. Now flip in, next page. And this is that where we started with when you guys saw that stuff, and all, that raw data is kind of in the back that we organize those spreadsheets. But this again was that first step I showed you guys where we looked at everything. We looked at all your equipment, broke it all down, and looked at what's beyond that normal, somewhat of a normal turnover, So you look at your trucks and plow trucks with salt and all that. Every 10 to 12 years, they should be getting turned over, or your heavy equipment, there's a years on it. So we put that all in, and then we look at, are we behind on where we're at now? And that's where we came up with that 5.8 million, and that chart there that's kind of what was beyond what the normal turnover lives were. That number doesn't scare me a lot, yeah, it's a big number. But again, there's some things that are just bouncing into that category right now, and there's some things we're gonna do to try to, again, bring that number down. But that kind of gives you that first look we actually had when we first started in the first few months as we did this. So if you flip again another page, I'll go on again here, and And I'm gonna go through this kind of quick, so if you guys want to stop me, if you want to ask any questions, then I'll go ahead. So the next page is, I always take a look at just, how have you guys been running your department to this point? So I look at what have you actually been spending per year buying equipment. So based on the size of fleet you have, this is what I pulled out for what they spend per year. And it does look a little bit up and down, and I'll just add the fact that if you look at 2023, you see what looks like a big spike. But I think because of what happened in the 21, 22, 23, with all the delays with equipment coming in and trucks taking forever to get, I think some of that numbers got actually pushed out a little bit in some of those trucks and things arrived in 23, and that's why you see it go up. So if you average that all out, you guys are spending about a little over $600,000 a year on your fleet, so that's kind of a number we kind of look at to see, okay, are you spending, or what I find in some counties I look at is, okay, I can look at their 5 or 6 years going backwards, and I see they had 3 years in a row, they were spending almost no money. They, for whatever reason, budget, whatever, they didn't spend any money, and that's how you really can start getting in holes really quickly at a highway department based on the size of your fleet if you're not spending the money. So that gives you that look on chart C. But chart C is the whole point of what everything we're trying to do here is we're looking at, again, the equipment you have that you own right now at the highway department. You're looking at right now to replace it on a regular turnover. But because you have kind of that bigger initial backlog, because you're beyond some of those turnover years, you see a pretty big number there. And all I did is took your backlog and your needs over the next few years, average that out, and you're at about a couple $1 million a year. So that's kind of daunting when you look at that. And then if you look back at those last 4 years, you guys were only averaging, a little over $400,000 for purchases. So there's a big gap, and that's what we're trying to do here is we want to close that gap. So we want to see what we can do to improve the operations, to improve your values you're creating internally in your operations with your rates, and then see if there's some interim things we do to try to bring that number down. But one of the first things we do when we look at that gap is what we've already been working on some is there surplus equipment out there? Is there any easy things or easy fixes we can do to try to help, improve that gap? Or can we have a 30-year-old grader, can I buy, I don't have to necessarily buy new and everything, and there may be some things we can interim, do some things to buy some equipment and then get rid of that 30-year-old for an 8-year-old or 6-year-old. But there's some things we do, and John and I are already looking at all the different things in our fleet to see what we can do. But that, again, the whole point of what we're trying to do is to close this gap and actually get your funding that you're creating closer to what your funding needs are. So after that chart, we'll flip in a few more pages here at least, maybe go several pages. And again, kind of just go through a lot of summary data, and all this is all explained in here a little bit, so you can see that if you want to read through every bit of it. Then the next chart you get to is the last chart, and this one I created probably a few months ago, a month and a half ago, because this will kind of show you what we're talking about here is, look at the chart, it looks the same, that's your backlog again, that's your turnover, but that first number, that 5.1 million now, it's not 5.8 million or whatever it was, 5.9, that is from some of those initial steps we took to try to sell off some surplus equipment and do some things to make some changes. So you're already starting to see some improvement. So where you saw some of that improvement that's starting to happen already on the money we're creating, and now you're seeing we've actually brought down some of that backlog, and we think we have some things we've already, in the last few months that John's done, that number might come down a little bit more. So I think we're gonna get that down a little bit more as we do our next update that we're working on right now. And we'll see that gap close. Once we get that gap, as far as we can get down to the easy stuff, then it gets more challenging, but we can get there. I think if you look at, go backwards one page from that last chart, that E chart, and you'll see just that summary I did for that right there is, being the fact that I've done this for a lot of counties and work with other counties right now, I look at the size of the county, their equipment fleet, what can we create in the short term if we start making these improvements? And I think John and I talked about this, and I think we're feeling pretty comfortable if we keep making the changes we're making. Our kind of initial goal over the first few years is to try to get up towards 600,000 for that. If you're getting 600,000 right now, what you've been buying matches up pretty closely with what you're funding then internally, because you're really not there right now with how you've been doing it. Does that not mean that you had a backlog before? That really improves that? Not necessarily, but again, there's lots of little interim things we're gonna try to do to try to overcome that, and I'm working with several counties right now trying to do the same thing in those counties. So there are things we can do, but I think there's a chance. We're already, I guess the positive we'll give, and John probably talk about this too right now, is we're already seeing it. You guys, I know how much far you know about this, is that, that guaranteed cost provision we're doing at the DOT right now. You guys have been doing that because you guys have been doing pretty poorly on your equipment, and you're getting the DOT to say, we'll fund that overage you guys are losing on your equipment every year. if you want to trigger that, which you guys have triggered here, and you're one of the only counties in the state that's actually done that, our whole goal is to get out of that. We want to improve these numbers, so we're not doing that anymore. And we're already seeing that improvement happening already, that we're a little afraid that this year, we might actually, you guys might be actually paying the DOT because you guys might actually have improvements already going to the level where you're going to be gaining more money than you would if the rates normally, and you're going to actually have to pay the DOT back by actually making more money than what the rates, over the profit loss, so over what it would be with your normal rates. So we're seeing that turn already starting to happen. And we can't get out of it till the end of the year, but we're pretty sure, based on the numbers we're already seeing from last year and now this year, that we think we can get out of this guaranteed costing with the DOT, and then it's all up. That's what we're trying to do. Again, that's why we don't want to continue on to the state with that guaranteed cost. We want to improve their equipment numbers, so we're making more money in our operations internally, so we do that. There's no reason to be on that guaranteed cost anymore, and we'll throw that out right away if we can. And the whole point would be that we actually can get that level up higher where we're actually, creating more of a profit actually almost on our equipment, which goes back into doing the equipment purchases, right? So that's kind of, I guess, the quickie overview of the whole thing. There's a lot of verbiage in here to read, but the whole point is trying to actually continue to make these improvements. And I've been through this process for several counties I've worked for, and now I'm working with several counties right now to help them in some of these areas right now. And the ones I'm working with, we're seeing already. We are seeing it, and I've seen it in John's numbers a little bit already, but we're seeing in other counties I'm working with that we think within a few years, some of these counties, we're going to turn around by 200, 300,000. And the biggest thing we want to see is if we do that, I guess, and we had a discussion the other day with the administrator too, is, the equipment funding is, again, it can be a self-sustaining structure. It's structured to be self-sustaining. If you're not operating really well, though, it isn't self-sustaining. And that's what we're trying to get out of. If we, it's going to take a few years to do this, but if we can actually improve those numbers, we can actually create it so that that fund actually is self-sustaining, and you're doing not only replace it, but get out of the situation you're in now where you have a lot of older equipment, and you're not having to, fund more money towards the highway department because they need it, because they need equipment. It's all old, but if you can get it back to a level where you're higher, to the point where you're actually turning over your equipment at the adequate times, the right times, then you can get on that hole you're in. So that's kind of the whole point of everything we're working on right now, is to try to do that. So I don't know if you want to add anything, John?
Yeah, just to add, like Bill said, we're on that actual cost where there's two counties, but Milwaukee, you can't really call it a county. And I think our reimbursement last year was $23,000. And if we would have been on our winter readiness, I think it's right about 20,000 that they give you. But this year, with the numbers we're seeing, and with the paving projects that I have lined up and the short hauls, we're hoping to do all our paving with our own forces, not have to contract any trucks out, because that gets very expensive. And that's already, we're seeing in our numbers, it's already producing more money in our equipment revenue. So yeah, I am concerned this year that we possibly could be writing a check back to the state because of the things we've done already. I mean, we had 24 small fleet trucks. We have 18 employees. We had trucks sitting that weren't getting the hours of creating the revenue on. We sold 8 of those trucks. We were able to replace a few of them with new trucks. And we're using all the equipment every day. We're capturing all the hours on our loaders, our graders. I mean, everything we use, and that's just more of a management part of it between me and Jason to make sure that all the hours are getting captured. So a lot of changes, and we're getting there. I mean, I really feel like this year is going to be a lot better, so.
One other thing I'll mention is, I guess I didn't mention that, is when you look at it, the reason it becomes more, it's kind of becomes a long-term thing is the replacement part of the equipment to get some things changed in the fleet. Those are the things you're going to start seeing incremental, but it takes time. It takes 2 years to get a plow truck nowadays. That's the way it is, That's one of the biggest areas we're looking at right now. We're trying to start to work on that right now because you have kind of a dual fleet thing with the state and the county, where a lot of your state trucks are just sitting all the time and you're not getting hours on them because they don't haul. They're smaller trucks. So we really want to take that fleet actually and change it so it's mostly a haul fleet and get dual usage on it. And that's gonna be a big thing, because that's a big thing that goes into your numbers. So that'll be one but it's gonna take some time on that, because it's gonna take how many years to start replacing some of these plow trucks. It costs so much money, and it takes a year and a half, 2 years to get them all set up. So, but over the course, that's what I mean by, that's why this is a 3, 4, 5, 6 year process. That as we get into this, those are the areas that are gonna really see some improvements, but it's gonna take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to really start seeing those part of the improvements helping too. So.
Mr. Bennett?
After going through this, is it possible that you could add how much we're spending in maintenance costs and how much we're spending for parts and how much is covered by warranties, what's not covered by warranties. I think that would help with thank you.
Are you guys also factoring, like you're talking earlier about all your setup time every time you have a snow event? Hooking up plows and doing all that?
Yeah, we'll be discussing that next month. Yep.
Yes.
I would just like to add that we've been meeting fairly regularly, and I'm very grateful for Bill stepping in and helping. This has been a very good investment for the county. Highway is not only one of our higher cost items, it's one of the most visible things that we do. And John is great, but he was new at this, and to have a mentor that can help him get to that next level is very good. And I don't mind writing a small check to the state this year to be more efficient in the future, and that's where we're headed.
Thank you.
Hey, John, what happened to that camera data collection system you were trying out?
Yep, so that's Samsara. When we do the budget this year, I'm gonna have that budgeted in, but we won't, we still have the equipment in the trucks. We just we didn't budget for it last year. So it's really not that much more of a cost because the state pays, I can't remember what percent of it the state pays. 60-70%. Yeah, 60 or 70% of it. So it's a small cost to the county, but I think overall, and then Chuck, you can vouch for this. He showed me a video tonight of how it can really save you.
So we've been running the Samsara with all of our vehicles, and so we have, say, 600 vehicles on the road right now. And so I just showed him a video. This happened today. I was coming through Spooner, and I get the alert, and the alert said that, not that the airbag deployed, but that we had a harsh break. And so I was 5 minutes out, I got there, the police were already there. I was able, in real time, pull that footage from not only the inside, because we have inside facing cameras and outside, and I was able to present that, give it to the police officer, and we were completely in the clear. And normally what I have to go through with DOT standards is I have to get a portable alcohol and drug unit to me that we have to pay for all this stuff. And so it's all timed that I have to be with the person. I can't let them out of my sight, all sorts of regulations. Null and void, we didn't have to do any of it because once I presented the footage, I emailed it to the officer and we were already clear from it. And we average probably in the United States, I would say probably 20 near misses a day, at least 20 animals, and then actual collisions happening, and not one of us have been involved because of the fact that we do all this training, but because having the video is just amazing, and it's well worth it. It makes our insurance cheaper. I don't know if that will help but when we have that and the rear facing, but now, do I have the ability to sit there and watch my people? I do. Do I have the time to do that? Absolutely not. And that's what's nice. And so we get alerts. We have it set up right now because we're paying up to $5 a gallon for fuel. And so we have an alert that will come to every supervisor if a vehicle's idling. And so we can set that parameter. So we set the parameter 20 minutes. Now, if they're working on a major highway and we got to have lots of lights flashing and visibility, we waive that. But otherwise, I get an alert, why is your vehicle running? And we make them shut them down just because we're spending $10,000 a day in fuel. And so this is real money and real things come out of this. And so the small price we pay for Samsara, it's well worth it.
Thank you for sharing. Number 14, Board Appointment Committee updates. Anybody have anything they want to add? 15, correspondence reports, conferences. The last ad hoc committee meeting, which was supposed to be last Monday, got canceled, and it was moved to this coming Monday, and it's at the LCO Conservation Center at 11:30. And we're gonna have on the agenda the towers, and they want some information for the contract for Sheriff's Department. And what was the third thing? Oh, brushing in the roads. So, we'll see how that all shakes out. We'll bring a report back to you so you know what's going on. Number 13, for the renewals, that has to go to the full county board, doesn't it?
For the full renewal, it will, yeah. And we redid the template completely about 5-6 years ago. So,
So I guess I'm reminding Liz that we gotta get on the agenda for the county boards.
well, that hangar owner in particular is not going to leave us alone until he sees it on the agenda, so.
We've talked to him quite often. He's checking, he's been very diligent about pursuing it, but right now it's at legal being reviewed, so it's out of our hands until Rebecca gets it back to us.
And the only one other thing I wanted to mention, it wasn't my report, but it's going to be probably a hot minute before we do anything with the master plan ALP updates. It was in the report. I think I said that we're going to probably address that ALP this fall, and I don't know if that's going to happen again now. It's probably going to be pushed back even further yet. Everything goes really slowly, but with all the attention that we got on that, we should at least talk about it briefly, that it might not even be this year yet before that comes back to committee for any more future airport discussion plans. So,
Well, we'll just watch and see how it comes forward and deal with it as it comes to us. Okay? Anybody else have anything else? Hearing none, meeting adjourned. Thank you for your valuable time.